Hey, Soul Survivors, we are going to talk about a viewer topic request about autism, and they weren't exactly specific. So I'm going to go ahead and add on why some people confuse that with narcissistic personality disorder. So, what exactly is autism? It's interesting to note that they do have a different brain structure, and ASD, which is autism spectrum disorder, is a neurodevelopmental condition and it is characterized by differences in communication, social interaction, also behavior. It can be referred to as a spectrum because it encompasses a wide range of symptoms and it varies in levels of severity. People with autism may have unique strengths and challenges, but how does it happen? So, the precise method that autism happens is complex, multifactorial, involves genetics, environmental, neurological factors, such as genetic predisposition. Autism does tend to run in families, so it does indicate there's a genetic basis. There's studies that have identified numerous genes that possibly can contribute to the risk of having ASD, although they don't have a single gene that's responsible. Specific genetic mutations, such as de novo mutations and variations, such as copy number variations, which are CNVs, those are associated with autism. Also, during the prenatal development, factors such as advanced parental age, maternal infections during pregnancy, exposure to certain drugs or chemicals, these can increase the risk of autism. Perinatal factors. These complications during birth, such as oxygen deprivation, can possibly contribute to ASD. Now, the neurological factors with the brain development, there are differences, including atypical connectivity and synaptic functioning. These are observed in people that have autism. Neuroimaging studies, kind of like brain scans, have shown variations in the size and activity of specific areas in the brain, such as the amygdala, which is involved in emotion processing. And we talk about the narcissist with their amygdala. It's different. Also, the prefrontal cortex up here. This part is crucial for social cognition and executive functionings. So there are symptoms, characteristics of autism. They have communication challenges, nonverbal and verbal. People that are autistic often have difficulty in both of these, both verbal and nonverbal. So they have challenges in understanding, also in using language. Interpreting facial expressions can be difficult. Even recognizing body language is a challenge. So they can interpret body language or language literally and struggle with understanding jokes, sarcasm, and idiomatic expressions. So an idiom is kind of like, oh, she's 2 sandwiches short of a picnic, meaning she's not quite all there, but they'll take it as, oh, she needs 2 more sandwiches, I'll just go make them. They don't get the idioms. So forming relationships, autistic people may find it challenging to initiate and maintain these social interactions and relationships. They can appear withdrawn or even uninterested sometimes. And this isn't due to a lack of wanting a social connection, but it's a difficulty in understanding social norms. It can be overwhelming from them. They often struggle to interpret social cues such as eye contact, tone of voice, personal space, and it can lead to struggles in relationships. They have a lot of repetitive movements such as hand flapping, rocking, even spinning are objects are common. They have strict routines. They do well with the routines. Many individuals that are autistic adhere to these specific routines and they can become distressed if these routines are disrupted. That's why new environments are quite challenging or scary for them. They also have deep focused interest in specific topics or activities, almost like an obsession. So they also have atypical responses to sensory stimuli, such as being overly sensitive to loud noises, bright lights, certain textures, or seeking out specific sensory experiences. And they say that it's almost like they see and hear stuff that is more intense that not everybody catches on to. So a loud sound to you would be excruciating to them. So with empathy, which empathy is necessary for a healthy relationship. When we talk about cognitive empathy, that's like the mental understanding of it, but they can have a difficult time understanding other people's thoughts or perspectives. And then there's the emotional empathy. So despite the challenges with the cognitive empathy, many people with autism possess strong emotional empathy and can feel deeply for others once they recognize their emotions. So sometimes people misunderstand how the autistic person is acting or what they're saying or why they're getting upset at things. So there are times that it gets confused with NPD. So the difference, autism, they have social difficulties due to neurological differences affecting social processing and understanding. Behaviors are intended not to harm or to manipulate. They don't want to do that. They're just having a difficult time expressing themselves. But somebody with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, their social difficulties come from self-centered perspective, also that desire for admiration and control, and it's often at somebody else's expense. Autism, they can struggle with understanding what others are thinking, but can feel deeply for others' distress once they recognize it. But somebody with NPD, typically characterized by that lack of both cognitive and emotional empathy, they have no desire to understand. An autistic person wants to, they do care about people. They're not using people. They're just having a hard time understanding certain situations. So autism challenges are due to the difficulties in understanding social norms, communication, NPD. These challenges due to a self-centered approach, lack of genuine interest in somebody else's feelings. So how do we support somebody in a relationship that has autism? If you can be direct with them, that's extremely helpful. Be straightforward, avoid using sarcasm, idioms, or metaphors because they'll take it literally. And if you can give them a literal instead of sarcastic approach to it, it'll be much more effective. Also check for understanding. Ensure that they understood by asking them to repeat back what you said in their own words. Checking for understanding is extremely important so you guys know you're both on the same page and can make adjustments if necessary. So we also have to be mindful of their sensory sensitivities, provide a quiet, calming space if needed. Also ask about their preferences so you can adjust accordingly, find something comforting or to avoid distress. Also give them some time to process. They might need extra time to process this information and respond during conversations. Also recognize that if they have a meltdown, it's a response to feeling overwhelmed, to having that stress, and it's not a personal attack. So don't take these meltdowns personally. Offer support and space for them to calm down and show interest in the things that they're interested in. Engage with these, specific special interests, even if they don't necessarily appeal to them. It shows that they are being cared about and what they enjoy is important to you too. Encourage their passion, support activities that bring them joy and fulfillment. Even if it's not something that you would do, it's something that they enjoy. Respect their social preferences. Sometimes autistic people like the smaller gatherings or one-on-one interactions over large groups. So if you're throwing them a birthday party, take that into account. Provide social scripts. You can offer guidance on social norms and expectations. Can help them navigate these social situations. Also maintain consistency, offer structure, listen actively, encourage self-expression, support them in finding ways to express their feelings, and also educate yourself. Learn more about autism. Ask me any questions you have about it. I can make videos for you guys to go deeper into this and foster that mutual respect. A lot of autistic people want to give you their respect and communicate openly. Seek professional guidance if needed. I do one-on-ones or seek out a therapist. But why do people confuse autism and narcissistic personality disorder? So it does lead to confusion because of the similarities, because there are difficulties in social interaction. Somebody with autism, they have social challenges, and it's because of the difficulty in understanding these cues and norms. But the NPD, they just lack a genuine interest in other people, and is overridden by their need to focus on themselves. So you got problems with empathy, communication style, behavioral routines. But when it comes to empathy, somebody with autism, they can struggle with the cognitive empathy, but they can exhibit strong emotional empathy with awareness. But NPD, they have no desire to even work through it or understand. And there are key differences. There's no desire to manipulate or control others if it's an autistic person, but NPD, that's what they want. They want to be self-serving, and they will go to great manipulative actions. So interpersonal relationships can be challenging with somebody with autism, but there is often a genuine desire to connect and form meaningful bonds. But NPD, it's more in the terms of admiration or status, self-perception. Self-esteem can be variable and often depends on social acceptance and success and personal interests with somebody with autism. But the NPD, they have an inflated sense of the self-perception. They got that grandiose sense of self-entitlement, self-importance, and there's often an overestimation of their own abilities and achievements. So with the way that you need to communicate with them, even somebody who is narcissistic, they do better with the direct communication. But when you're in a relationship with somebody with NPD, they take things so sensitively. And the amygdala, we're going to talk about the brain structures. The amygdala's role is at processing of emotions and social signals. So with the autism, they have a different structure. And understanding that, if somebody goes through trauma or adverse experiences, it can impact the brain. So when we're dealing with somebody who doesn't want to manipulate, somebody who does want a true relationship, we don't want to traumatize them more, because it can alter the brain structure, and that can be associated with memory, stress regulation. And autistic people experience trauma such as bullying or abuse, and it can compound these existing neurological differences, exacerbating symptoms and leading to additional mental health challenges. So if you have somebody in your life that is autistic, really understanding how to help them navigate this world that they are in that feels off to them, can make them feel safe. And we all want to feel safe in this world, because they're not out there to hurt you. They have difficulties. But somebody with NPD, they like to destroy people. It's completely different. So how do we counteract the negative effects? You can use CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, can help with coping strategies, managing stress and anxiety. Also MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction. This is important. It's a technique like meditation, can reduce stress, improve emotional regulation, also help them with social skill training and reduce the fear of isolation. Also sensory-friendly spaces, which can reduce the sensory overload. Inclusive education and workplaces so they don't feel so alone, helps build up their self-esteem. Strength-based approaches, focusing on and cultivating individual strengths and interests, can enhance their self-efficacy and resilience. It's good to have support networks with family, friends, and even the autism communities can provide emotional and practical support. What's nice about the brain is neuroplastic. It can adapt and change in response to experiences. So the more positive experiences and interventions can lead to improvement in the brain function and the mental health. Physical exercise is great regardless of who you are. It's been shown to promote this neuroplasticity and reduce stress and improve mood. So if you guys know somebody who has autism, that they sometimes seem different, sometimes hard to connect with, or they're having problems that are hard to relate to sometimes. So understanding them and to not confuse it with NPD, it's not somebody trying to manipulate or harm you. It's somebody just trying to get through and focus in a world that has these societal expectations, which can be difficult sometimes. Any questions? Let me know. I will continue on, and topic requests are welcome. One-on-ones are available, and I'll see you in the next video.